we talk about Jay. Proximity to Diddy. You don't think he knew anything? He's seemingly around Diddy a lot.
No, that was a real suburb question.
Yeah, I know, right?
Proximity. Proximity. That's SAT hit parade.
The rivalry that started with diss tracks in 1999 has exploded into something far more dangerous. Secret alliances, federal investigations, and decades of buried secrets are colliding, and 50 Cent is at the center. What he knows about Jay-Z could change hip-hop forever, but first he has to survive first. The war and the battle for hip-hop's soul. The ongoing tension is entirely one-sided, with 50 Cent aggressively trolling Jay-Z on social media, especially in early to mid-December 2025. And with Daddy's documentary, the tension has only gotten worse because 50 Cent isn't backing down. The contrast in their approaches reflected their different positions in the industry and their different understandings of how power operates in the digital age. 50 Cent had embraced social media early, recognizing its potential to bypass traditional gatekeepers and speak directly to audiences. He understood that in the attention economy, engagement was currency, and controversy was the most efficient way to generate engagement. Jay-Z, by contrast, maintained a more traditional celebrity posture, speaking rarely and only through official channels, treating his mystique as an asset to be protected rather than spent. In the era of Instagram and TikTok, 50's approach was proving more effective at shaping public perception, allowing him to control narratives that Jay-Z's silence left open for others to fill. The social media campaign employed multiple tactics. 50 Cent shared offensive caricatures and AI deep fake videos mocking Jay-Z. He posted images, liked strategic comments, and maintained a steady drumbeat of implications and insinuations. Each post generated headlines. Each headline generated engagement. And each engagement cycle reinforced 50 Cent's position as the narrator of hip-hop's biggest ongoing story. 50 liked comments suggesting Jay-Z could be next after Diddy, sparking rumors of an exposed documentary. The speculation alone was damaging. Even without a documentary being produced, the possibility of one kept Jay-Z's potential vulnerabilities in public consciousness. Old rivals entered the fray, adding layers of complexity to an already complicated situation. Speculation arose of J. Rule teaming up with Jay-Z Rock Nation against 50, prompted by Instagram follows and comments. Ja Rule had called 50 a cancer to the culture, suggesting the Diddy documentary and Jay-Z trolling had gone too far and damaged hip-hop's reputation in ways that would take years to repair.
But when Jay signed his contract, the big one was with Beyonce. When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Now those trophies came rolling in, buddy.
50 dismissed it, laughing them all. My momentum make them all get together, LOL. And proclaimed he's not afraid of Jay-Z or J. Rule. The response was quintessential 50 Cent, dismissive, confident, and designed to minimize his opponents while maximizing his own perceived power. The idea that his enemies were uniting against him only validated his sense of his own importance in the industry. Interview.3.00/3.12, however. In other interviews, 50 downplayed real hatred. It's just competitive stuff. I hope things are all right for him internally, referencing family impacts from any drama. The comment was surprisingly measured, suggesting that beneath the trolling, 50 understood the human stakes involved, that real families with real children were being affected by allegations and innuendo, regardless of their truth or falsehood. Jay-Z's team described their relationship with Diddy as purely professional with no closer association. This distancing effort attempted to break the psychological link between the convicted mogul and the one still fighting to protect his reputation. But decades of photos and public appearances made such distancing difficult. The evidence of their connection was scattered across the internet for anyone to find and share. Jay-Z's legal history shows a pattern of aggressive defense and eventual victory. In 1999, Jay-Z was charged with stabbing producer Lance Univera at an NYC nightclub, pleading guilty to a misdemeanor in 2001 and receiving 3 years probation. The incident demonstrated both his capacity for confrontation and his ability to emerge from legal trouble with minimal consequences. The Big Pimp and copyright lawsuit was...
I think all celebrities are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Right, and when you see, if I wasn't saying anything, guess what? You could safely say that a person on the outskirts that is not involved in hip-hop culture could think that everybody in hip-hop culture is with...
was dismissed in October 2015 when a judge ruled the plaintiff lacked standing, with the Ninth Circuit affirming the win in 2018. The victory demonstrated his ability to outlast opponents in legal warfare through superior resources and representation. The final federal paternity case was dropped with prejudice in 2025, ending a decade-plus battle, but the dismissal of legal claims did not end public discussion, especially with 50 Cent constantly amplifying the narrative and keeping questions alive in the public consciousness. This remained the fundamental truth underlying all this speculation. Being friends with someone who committed crimes is not itself a crime. When asked why he kept giving hints about Jay-Z and the immoral activities of other industry heavyweights, he had this to say, interview.5.05/5.19 legal vindication in courtrooms does not automatically translate to vindication in public opinion. But in the court of public opinion, guilt by association proved powerful, especially when amplified by someone with 50 Cent's platform, persistence, and willingness to push boundaries that others wouldn't dare approach. The rivalry that began in 1999 with lyrical shots has evolved into something far more complex and consequential. It now encompasses business competition, legal allegations, paternity claims, and the fallout from Diddy's conviction. The two men who once dissed each other on wax now fight across courtrooms and social media platforms, with 50 Cent perpetually on offense and Jay-Z perpetually in defense mode. What makes this conflict so fascinating is how it reflects broader changes in hip-hop and American culture. The genre that once celebrated street credibility is now dominated by corporate interests and carefully managed images. But in the modern era, social media warfare can be just as devastating as any other kind. Reputations can be destroyed by memes and insinuations without a single fact being proven. Jay-Z built his empire on image as much as talent. The image of the smart hustler, the successful businessman, the devoted family man who represented what hip-hop could become when combined with intelligence and discipline. That image is now under sustained assault, and his strategy of silence leaves others to define his narrative in ways he may not be able to control. What happens next remains deeply uncertain, and that uncertainty itself is a form of ongoing damage. Will Jay-Z break his silence and finally address the accusations hidden? Will 50 Cent produce the rumored exposed documentary that many believe is already in production? Will new allegations emerge from Diddy's case that implicate other industry figures? The only certainty is that the conflict continues with each day, bringing new posts, new implications, and new damage to reputations built over decades of careful image management. The battle for hip-hop's soul continues, fought not with microphones, but with Instagram posts and legal filings. The generation that built hip-hop into a billion-dollar industry is now tearing at each other in public, exposing secrets long kept hidden and raising questions that may never be fully answered. Whatever the truth of the various allegations, the industry will never look the same again. The era of untouchable moguls protected by wealth and influence may be coming to an end, replaced by a new reality where accountability is demanded of even the most powerful figures. For 50 Cent, the current moment represents validation of everything he has been saying for years. His warnings about Diddy proved devastatingly accurate. His jabs at Jay-Z's carefully constructed image are landing with increasing force. His documentary was a massive commercial and cultural success. His enemies appear to be uniting against him, which only proves his importance in the current landscape. Whether his campaign against Jay-Z will achieve similar results remains to be seen, but he shows absolutely no signs of stopping or even slowing down. As 2025 draws to a close, the hip-hop world watches and waits with bated breath. New documents may emerge from Diddy's case. New lawsuits may be filed from unexpected directions. New revelations may surface from sources unknown. Former associates leaked documents or investigative journalists following the trail of breadcrumbs that both men have left over decades. The only guarantee is that the story is far from over and that the men at its center, Jay-Z and 50 Cent, will continue their decadal-long conflict until one of them is finally vindicated or destroyed. The stakes have never been higher for either man, and neither can afford to lose this battle. The outcome will shape not just their legacies, but the future of hip-hop itself. The birth of a feud and the bullets that changed everything? The year was 1999, and the hip-hop landscape was dominated by established players who had carved out their territories through years of grinding and building street credibility into mainstream success. Into this world stepped a young Curtis Jackson, a Queensborough rapper with a sharp tongue and an even sharper survival instinct, who had just released what would become one of the most audacious tracks in hip-hop history. The song was called How to Rob, a humorous fantasy about robbing every major figure in rap, from established legends to rising stars. The track was bold, irreverent, and designed to put 50 Cent's name on the map through sheer provocation. Among the targets was Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, who had already established himself as one of New York's most formidable lyricists and business minds. Jay-Z was not merely a rapper. He was a mogul in the making, someone who understood that hip-hop was a business first and an art form second. His Rockefeller Records empire was growing, his album sales were impressive, and his reputation as a lyrical threat was well documented. The specific bars took aim at Jay-Z's success, referencing his Bentley and his millions, putting a target on the established star's back. While 50 Cent was still struggling to break through the industry's gates, Jay-Z responded at Hot 97's Summer Jam, debuting "It's Hot, Some Like It Hot" with a direct response. The rebuttal was sharp and dismissive, questioning what 50 Cent even amounted to in the grand scheme of the industry. This exchange set the foundation for one of hip-hop's longest-run rivalries, establishing a pattern of competitive tension that would ebb and flow for more than 2 decades. The dynamic between the two artists represented something fundamental about the hip-hop industry: the constant struggle between established power and hungry challengers. Jay-Z was already building his empire while 50 Cent was throwing verbal grenades to get noticed. Neither could have predicted how their relationship would evolve, how the industry would change around them, or how allegations from multiple fronts would eventually intersect their paths in ways that would make headlines across the globe. The seeds of a conflict that would span more than 2 decades had been planted in the soil of 1990s New York hip-hop, watered by ego, ambition, and the ruthless competition that defined the genre. Then came the moment that would transform 50 Cent from a provocative newcomer into a living legend. A moment of violence so extreme that it would have ended most careers and most lives. In 2000, Curtis Jackson was shot 9 times in an incident connected to Queens underworld figures. The shooting was devastating. Bullets struck his face, hands, arms, hips, and legs. One round pierced his cheek, damaging his tongue and jaw, forever altering his speech and giving him the distinctive slur that would become as recognizable as his aggressive delivery. The circumstances surrounding the shooting remain murky, tied to his song Ghetto Kuran, which allegedly named names and exposed secrets that powerful people wanted kept hidden. The attack was meant to be fatal. 9 bullets usually are, but Curtis Jackson survived, defying odds that would have crushed most men physically and psychologically. In the hospital, recovering from wounds that would leave permanent scars, both visible and invisible, he made a decision that would define his future. He would not retreat into silence and safety. He would return, more dangerous and more determined than before. The shooting forced a cooling period in any direct beef with Jay-Z. 50 Cent rebuilt his career through mixtapes, using the streets to distribute his music when the industry had essentially blackballed him. Columbia Records had dropped him. Radio stations had been warned away from his music, and the legitimate pathways to success seemed permanently closed. But the streets remained open, and 50 Cent flooded them with mixtapes that showcased not just his talent, but his mythology. The rapper who had taken 9 bullets and lived to tell about it. Each tape spread like wildfire through urban centers, building a grassroots following that no record label could have manufactured. His near-death experience transformed him into the rapper who survived, the artist who had literally taken bullets and kept going, and his story became inseparable from his music. By 2003, the landscape had shifted dramatically. 50 Cent's Become Wealthy or Die with almost 900,000 copies sold in its first week. Trying had become a huge commercial hit, making him the hottest rapper in the game. He had the platform and production quality to match his street credibility thanks to his connection with Eminem and Dr. Dre, providing a rare combination of underground authenticity and commercial appeal. They appeared to put their disagreements behind them when they went on the Rock the Mic tour together. The dynamic had shifted. It was no longer an established star turning down a newcomer. Now, two superstars were circling one another, each conscious of the might and influence of the other. Each weighs the advantages and disadvantages of an uneasy partnership versus ongoing strife. Up until the middle of the 2000s, there appeared to be a truce. Jay-Z joined 50 Cent and Diddy on the I Get Money Forbes 123 remix in 2007. Cooperation that implied mutual regard between erstwhile competitors. However, subtle conflicts continued to exist beneath the surface. 50 characterized their partnership as purely commercial. We don't have connections like that. We're not always pals. As the years went by and new confrontations arose, this description would turn out to be prescient. Tensions frequently erupted in the late 2000s and early 2010s. In interviews, 50 Cent accused Jay-Z of having a king complex, implying that his rival's success had driven him insane and cut him off from the culture that had shaped him. He took aim at what he saw as Jay-Z's shift from street poet to business CEO by calling his album 444 golf course music. These were the gradual trickle of shade that characterizes long-term rivalries in the entertainment industry. Not the dramatic confrontations of their early days, when 50 Cent alleged that Jay-Z attempted to prevent him from participating in the Super Bowl halftime show through Roc Nation's NFL relationship in 2022 because Eminem insisted on his inclusion. The conflict took on new dimensions. The accusation suggested that Jay-Z's rivalry had changed from lyrical conflicts to boardroom warfare, portraying him as someone prepared to use his corporate power to sideline a competitor. If accurate, it implied that Jay-Z's influence now went much beyond music to the American entertainment system as a whole, and he wasn't hesitant to use it against people he considered to be adversaries. Another important theme in this story is the relationship between Jay-Z and Diddy. Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs have been together for more than 30 years. Due to shared connections to the infamous B.I., who was signed to Diddy's Bad Boy Records and appeared on Jay-Z's debut album, Reasonable Doubt, the group had its roots in the 1990s New York hip-hop scene. In 1996, they collaborated on many songs, such as Young G's in 1997. They attended each other's events, including Diddy's well-known white parties, and together contributed $1 million for Hurricane Katrina relief in 2005. When legal storm clouds gathered around Diddy and questions arose about who knew what and who took part in what, this description would prove to be critical. Their relationship's asymmetry would acquire new meaning. If Jay-Z had always kept Diddy at a distance, even though public appearances suggested otherwise, what did that say about his awareness of Diddy's actions when Diddy's legal issues came to light? What would happen next now that the groundwork had been established? A hazardous environment waiting for a spark had been produced by decades of rivalry, perceived and actual slights, business disputes, and personal hostility. Accusations, and the documentary that made all the difference. 2024 was a pivotal year in hip-hop history that few people could have predicted. Once seen as untouchable because of his wealth and power, Sean Diddy Combs encountered a series of legal issues that led to federal prosecution. Diddy's legal problems worsened in 2024 and 2025, leading to federal accusations of racketeering and trafficking. The businessman who had spent decades defining hip-hop glamour was now in danger of going to prison for the rest of his life. Diddy's downfall was more than simply the shame of one man. It called into question the fundamental Principles of the hip-hop industry. His actions had been the subject of whispered allegations for years, but his influence and authority seemed to shield him from the repercussions. These safeguards had vanished now that federal agencies were involved. Everyone had a straightforward inquiry. Who else might fall if Diddy could? Susceptible? The entertainment industry was rocked by the accusations made against Diddy. Former co-workers withdrew. Business alliances fell apart, and rumors that had been whispered for decades suddenly made headlines. Businesses that had proudly showcased their collaborations with Bad Boy Records have since removed those links from their websites. Artists who had relied on his guidance to advance their careers now felt compelled to highlight their independence. However, 50 Cent, who had been warning about Diddy for years and now found himself validated in the court of public opinion, may have taken advantage of the situation better than anybody else. Long before the federal accusations made headlines, 50 Cent was working on a documentary about Diddy's alleged crimes. He had been hinting on social media for years, implying that he knew things that the general public didn't, creating excitement for a project that many people wrote off as trolling. On December 2, 2025, Netflix broadcast Sean Combs' The Reckoning, a detailed account of Diddy's controversies and conviction that offered a thorough analysis of the accusations that had taken down one of the most influential characters in hip-hop. The documentary, which included interviews with alleged victims and former associates, was painstakingly produced. However, Doc's achievement raised 50's prominence by establishing him as someone who had seen through the industry's facade while others continued to act blindly. Even as concerns about his next target surfaced, his credibility surged. The long-standing friendship between Jay-Z and Diddy generated rumors and memes that were magnified by posts from the 1950s. Internet investigators and gossip sites alike were now scrutinizing every picture of them together, every cooperation, and every joint stage appearance. It was a straightforward but deadly question that hung over everything. What was Jay-Z aware of? When did he find out? The inquiry itself was detrimental to a reputation based on intelligence and awareness of his surroundings, even if there was no answer. 50 Cent quickly changed his focus. 50 uploaded a deepfake video of Jay-Z's face on Lionel Richie's body at the end of November 2025, suggesting that Jay-Z was happy not to be included in the documentary. Over the next few days, the teasing got more intense. 50 posted a severely insulting caricature of Jay-Z on December 8th and 9th, 2025, with the remark, "Please stop sending me stuff like this." The image was enlarged to resemble the former Camel Cigarettes mascot. "I will not share it." "Jay-Z is next, isn't he?" was a fan comment that 50 Cent found amusing, causing a great deal of conjecture that Jay-Z would experience similar scandals. The lawsuit that altered everything then surfaced. A civil case filed against Diddy in 2024 was modified to accuse him and Jay-Z of abusing a juvenile during an after-party at the 2000 VMAs. The accusations were explosive. A 13-year-old Jane Doe alleged that both moguls had attacked her after luring her to an after-party. The allegation linked to one of the most well-documented evenings in music history, giving charges that would otherwise seem too ludicrous to believe a veneer of detail. The revisions, which were made in December 2024 at the height of Diddy's legal issues, turned what had been a tale of one mogul's demise into something possibly much more significant. On September 7, 2000, Radio City Music Hall hosted the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. Many celebrities attended the various after-parties. The 2000 VMAs marked a pinnacle of pop culture at the turn of the millennium when hip-hop's hegemony over. The mainstream was becoming indisputable. Diddy, Jay-Z, Jennifer Lopez, Aaliyah, Britney Spears, Eminem, and other well-known attendees included along with Dr. Dre, Jay-Z's case would mostly rely on the large number of witnesses and the lack of any contemporaneous reports of misconduct. The complainant said that a limousine driver invited her to an after-party after telling her she was what Diddy was searching for there. After allegedly signing an NDA and being offered a drunken drink that made her feel dizzy, she was allegedly attacked. She claimed that in order to contact her father, she ran away to a petrol station. Jay-Z responded right away and categorically. He called the accusations stupid and horrible in a statement released through Roc Nation. He suggested that there was insufficient evidence to prosecute and recommended the accuser to bring criminal charges rather than a civil lawsuit. With his usual attitude, he rejected any settlement. "I won't give you a dime." He called it blackmail, and disclosed that he had preemptively filed an extortion lawsuit against Tony Busby, the accuser's lawyer. Rather than trying to discreetly resolve the issue and make it go away, the forceful approach was classic Jay-Z, confronting charges head-on with legal power. Jay-Z's team, led by lawyer Alex Spiro, filed several motions to dismiss, citing factual errors such as incorrect party location descriptions and timeline impossibilities. The lawsuit cannot be refiled because it was voluntarily dismissed with prejudice in February 2025. Jay-Z declared the accusations to be baseless, untrue, and disgusting, calling it a win. However, Jay-Z continued after winning the lawsuit, citing evidence such as a taped discussion in which the accuser purportedly acknowledged that Jay-Z had nothing to do with the assault. He filed counter-legal action, including defamation cases against the accuser and lawyer Tony Busby. But in July 2025, a California judge used the state's anti-SLAPP law to reject Busby's extortion allegations. Meanwhile, Jay-Z faced additional difficulties due to a different legal issue. Since he was 19 years old, Reese Satterthwaite has been pursuing paternity claims, claiming Jay-Z is his father. The case stemmed from a claimed relationship between Jay-Z and Satterthwaite's mother in the 1990s. Over the years, numerous claims for damages and paternity tests were brought. Each was dismissed, but fresh ones were then filed. According to reports, a judge gave Jay-Z until July 18th to address the paternity allegation. A perfect storm of legal and PR difficulties resulted from the timing, which coincided with the fallout from the Diddy-related accusations. According to rumors, 50 Cent would include the person in a future documentary, which would put pressure on Jay-Z and present 50 Cent as someone who is prepared to speak up for people that the industry has unjustly suppressed. The combination of these court cases, the rejected accusations of assault, and the continued paternity accusations, and the shadow of Diddy's imprisonment put Jay-Z's meticulously crafted public persona under unprecedented strain. He had positioned himself for decades as the model citizen of hip-hop, the rapper who became a businessman, the entrepreneur who wed a world-renowned figure, and created a family that embodied Black excellence. His strategy of silence was being put to the test like never before as that image came under attack from several angles. I appreciate you watching. Examine further cards displayed on the screen.